It's that time of the week where I do my chats with Jeff Pearson for his afternoon show on Colwyn Bay's Bayside Radio. It goes out on a Thursday afternoon where we talk about fishing, and then a day later it's Welsh football. Thinking of the angling in particular, we always get 2 to 3 questions each week, which is great because it's always nice to, first of all, answer people's questions, but secondly, because it brings variety into the slot. But as far as the questions themselves are concerned, I think there must be lots of people out there, not only beginners, but those a little bit further along the line from being a novice, often have going around their minds and wondering, how can I ask that one? That's a silly question, isn't it? Well, let me say no such thing as a silly question. So I'd like to have that option on my website, that if you've got a question at all, if you're watching this on YouTube, then check out the click more below, because that'll take you to the link. But post a question there. You don't even need to use your name. You can go anonymous if you want, or an initial or whatever. And I think that'd be quite an interesting feature. I look forward to hearing from you. And here's some of today's recordings for Bayside Radio, as far as the fishing is concerned anyway.
I have actually, Jeff. I've been out this morning as we speak now, of course, and we're in a cold spell at the moment, and I went onto a pool that was partly frozen, and I had the most amazing experience, really. It's happened to me in the past, but while I was there fishing, just for an hour or so at first light, I watched the ice come over the pool and make its way right to where I was on the bank. It was like being in a time-lapse video, because before me I could watch the ice as it inched its way across.
Hello, Eric, and really to answer that, what you've just said there, Jeff, you're never wasting your time, and there will be fish everywhere. That goes without saying. So it's highly unlikely you're going to find a bay on Anglesey that you've just referred to as an example where there aren't any fish, but there will be fish in the next bay. Some places might have more of a fish population because they've got things that attract the fish. So when you're there at low tide, you have a look at the bay, the beach or wherever, and you look at the features, and they may be the ones that bring the fish in when the tide comes in. For example, lugworm beds. You might have rocks with lots of creatures inhabiting the rock pools and everything else that you find associated with that type of terrain, which when the water comes in, that's where the fish will be. But you can ask in the fish and tackle shop. They're always very helpful. And of course, the internet as well. That's always a good starting point. But the best thing is, I always feel, if you're local and you've got time, is to go out there, fish places, and you can find places for yourself. And then you begin to, as I said just now in the previous discussion that we had about Deganwy, you can always find out where to fish, what's the best stage of the tide, when is the best time of day to fish. All of those little things come together so that you can find somewhere that's productive. But Anglesey is a great place, and I think if you fish that on a regular basis, you will get to know it and you will catch some nice fish.
Jeff, I was okay. Although we were in minus temperature, we had a dusting of snow and I was scraping ice off the car before I could leave the drive. Usual stuff at this time of the year. But I was fine. I do have the right gear. We talked about that last week, didn't we? About making sure that you wear the right clothes, footwear as well, good thermal socks, tick all the right boxes, and you can get out there and you can actually enjoy the conditions. I was watching a stock dove this morning as it was eyeing up a nesting site. I do carry a pair of binoculars with me when I go fishing, and I saw the bird first of all with the naked eye, but it was about 40, 50 yards away. So I got the binoculars out and I watched it going in and out of a hole in a tree. So although we're in the depths of winter, spring is not that far away. It's always the encouragement, isn't it, in life, I guess, that even when we're going through a difficult time and it looks like we'll never come through, the light is always there at the end of the tunnel, and we always come through, don't we?
Hello, Alan. Thanks for your question. And yeah, if you're fishing with maggots and maybe a small float on a pond or a canal or whatever, you will pick up anything that swims in effect. But if you want to target fish, you have to, I suppose, think of several boxes to tick along the way. One of them is location. Where will that fish be found, or more likely to be found than other species? Again, the conditions at the moment, you are eliminating some fish anyway, so you're not likely to catch crucian carp, rudd and tench, which I mentioned just now. The bait as well. In my case, what I've been doing for most of this year is I've been fishing with sweet corn. So when I'm fishing with corn, I have caught perch on grains of corn before, but I'm highly unlikely to get many perch if I'm fishing with that particular bait. So bait also, your tactics, your approach, your general approach to angling means that you can, to some extent, eliminate other species. Never totally, because even if you're after carp and you're fishing with big boilies, you'll still pick up tench and bream along the way. But you can, to some extent, narrow the species down and target them.